Bob Bardwell. I'm from Stewartville, Minnesota, and I'm certainly honored to be called by Tara and asked to be a part of her Heal retreat coming up here in October. We've only known each other a few months, but we've had some great conversations, and she asked me to be a part of it for her Heal retreat here, and I'm honored with that. The name of my presentation, I'm calling it the Marathons of Life. I'll back up first the word healing. You know, I think about that word. It's something that we deal with every day. Whether we're healing from a scratch, you know, or our body needs healing, it's broken, or a relationship or a job, life goes on. Every day we need some kind of healing. And we know the great healer is the one who created us. It's Jesus Christ. He is the healer. And so the things I'm working on today, healing, I got them right now in my life, each and every day. Anyway, I've entitled my presentation today called The Marathons of Life. I wrote a book some 20 years ago called The Marathons of Life. There's a picture of it there. And that's actually a picture of me doing the Boston Marathon. I was injured in 1973 in a heavy construction accident, about 30 miles from home. So I'm a T12 paraplegic the last about 47 years. Anyway, I was blessed early on to get started doing marathons, and over a 20-year span, I did 100 of them. So I've entitled my presentation today, too, called The Marathons of Life. There are a lot of parallels, by the way, between running a marathon, wheeling a marathon, and life's marathon. Let me explain a couple of the parallels. Well, they both have a starting line, that's for sure. They also have a finish line. But, you know, during a marathon, you encounter several things. You get going, and I always say it takes two things for sure to finish a marathon. The first one is called a focus. A lot of distractions nowadays. A lot of things in running a marathon to distract you from keeping your focus and going forward. That's the same way in life, even in healing, is keeping our focus. And the next one is called pacing yourself. Oh my, what an age in which we live of rush, 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 go, go, go. But you don't finish a marathon if you rush it. You pace yourself. And that's also true in life. If you're waiting on something, give God time and He'll get you there. Marathons also have headwinds. Oh my goodness, having done 100 marathons, I've been in strong headwinds. Oh my, you're down to 5 miles an hour. You can't hardly move. Well, the wind's blowing in your face. But I've also had tailwinds behind me where I'm zooming down the road. And I've also had sunshine. I've also had rain and snow and sleet. And one of the challenges of marathons, it's called hitting the wall. We all get tired and want to quit, but you got to keep going. Then there's Heartbreak Hill coming up in the Boston Marathon when you really want to quit and roll to the bottom and just give up and say, enough's enough, I'm going home. But no, you want to finish. So there are some parallels there. We'll chat about them a little bit. I do want to mention a little bit about my accident, a little bit more about that. 1973, I was involved in that heavy construction accident. And right now I want to share a bit about, you know, some of the lessons learned. You can certainly share lessons. It's mostly through adversity that we learn some of the greatest lessons of life. So what are a few things that my injury has taught me? Number one, I'm learning every day, I call it, that life's fragile and short. Life is fragile. It's not very long. Oh my goodness. What I have today, I may not have tomorrow. Who said I would? And life's not very long. Days and years are just clicking along in my life so fast. How does that help me? Well, it helps me appreciate the day. Give God thanks for the day. It is a present that I can have so many hours in this day and thank Him for it. I didn't say my day would be easy. I didn't know what's coming. But that's one of the lessons that my injury continues to teach me. Number two is called Look to the Future. Someone has said is the greatest destroyer of a bright future is dwelling on the past. I said dwelling. We're to learn from the past, of course. Why wouldn't we? But to dwell on the past, that's never God's plan. God wants me to move on. Let go of my grudges and my disappointments and move on in life. God's got a bright future. So no dwelling, learn from the past, and you'll have a bright future as well. The third one is the two words, you've heard this before. One's called being a victim. The other one's called being a victor. So what is a victim? Well, you can describe them. They don't have too many happy days. They don't smile very often. They blame other people for all their troubles and trials. And they move on in life that way because they're victims. They don't grow. The other choice is called being a victor. Now, I didn't say it was easy. But what is a victor? Well, it's a person like you and me. We make choices. We make choices on being a victor. We smile more often. We thank God for what we have, not what we don't have. We look forward to the day. We help other people. Many, many ways that we can grow in our life to be victors. And I trust today that you can choose being a victor over a victim each and every day of your life. Someone has said that pain, sorrow, and disappointment, it's inevitable. It happens to everybody at different levels in their healing process. But misery, that's optional. Bob, I can be as miserable as I want. Or I can choose joy, like my hat says up here, J-O-Y. I forgot about my hat. That's part of my life, is choosing joy. So just a couple of sayings that I try to always pass along to. Someone has said, you can't. Have you ever tried to direct the wind? Oh, yeah, give it a try. But you can adjust the sails. It's going to take a little longer to get there. But if you've got wind blowing against you today, whether you're in a race or a run or life or a healing process, ask God to help you to direct it and be patient with it. Here's kind of what I want to leave you with. It's called doing your best. It's what God's called us all to do. Plus, you can't do any better than that if you do your best in life. That's kind of my focus. Colossians 3 says, whatever you do it heartily unto the Lord. And the word best is, of course, just 4 letters. B-E-S. B stands for bloom where you're planted. Bloom where you're planted. That means right now. You are planted somewhere. You are to bloom. You're to bring forth fruit. John 15:16 says this, ye have not chosen me, but I've chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. Isn't that neat to know that you're called of God? He's chosen you. You ever think of that? He's chosen you just who you are right today to be fruit, to bring forth fruit. And that's pretty cool. That's part of doing our best, is blooming where we're planted. Because let me tell you something. When you wake up discouraged, your day's over. Why wouldn't it be? You can't do a thing when you're discouraged. It's called encouragement. How do you tell if someone needs encouragement? Tell me if they're breathing. If they're breathing, people need encouragement. How do you encourage someone? I don't know. Pat in the back, email, listening ear, prayer. Many, many ways to encourage people. It means to uplift them a bit and give them some hope. Encouragement to me, with God's help, I got a little saying. It says, God's helped me go from heartache to hope, misery to mercy, and the list goes on. I would not be speaking to you today if it wasn't for the many, many people who have encouraged me along my journey and helped me move forward. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I used to have a patch at the back of my racing wheelchair, which that's not I'm sitting in, but anyway, that's what it said. I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. E is encouragement. Let's move on, doing our best. B, blooming your planted. E, encouragement. S, are you ready? Stick to it. Oh my. Another big long word for that, it's called perseverance. You won't know what that's about. I know what it's about. When in the marathons, if you don't have perseverance, you're over. You might as well not even show up at the starting line. And it's no different in life, in your life right today. God's asking you, I'm asking you, are you willing to persevere? Are you willing to give it some more time? Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says this, don't get tired of doing what is right, for in God's time, I'm talking about you will reap a harvest of blessings if you don't give up and quit. Isn't it? Wheelchair when I get finished, what it says down there about not quitting. That's one of my little messages down there. So S is stick to it. Boston Marathon, you're climbing Heartbreak Hill. You're at mile 22. And you're exhausted and you're tired. Whew! You want to let go and roll to the bottom. And people are standing along the way saying, come on, you're going to get there, you're looking good, you're almost to the finish line. You know, they got all these things to help you get to the top. But sticking to it. So maybe you got a friend praying for you right now. Maybe you got a grandma, you got a neighbor, you don't even know about them. And they're helping you with your trials and your tribulations. They want to bring a smile to your face and see your life uplifted and encouraged. B, bloom where you're planted. Have you asked God to help you do that? Bring forth fruit. E is encouragement. Say a word of encouragement to someone and it'll come back to you. S is stick to it. It's called perseverance. My illustration there, and before I get to T, I run the Ironwood Springs Christian Ranch here just out of Rochester. By the way, we hold the largest wheelchair sports camp in America. Check us out. IronwoodSprings.com when I'm thinking of it. IronwoodSprings.com, and then my web is bobbardwell.org. Anyway, we built a lodge here called the Miracle Lodge. I had a dream to build a building with 24 rooms, all wheelchair friendly. A $5 million project. How do you start? Well, you wait till it's down here, till God leads you forward. 9 years later, folks, 9 years later, we finished it. Over 50,000 volunteer hours helped us persevere and stick to it. Wow, it's a testimony. You can see it on our website, ironwoodsprings.com. Okay, we're down to the last letter of best. Do your best. It's T. T stands for thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. I always say when you accomplish something, when you reach your goal, there's always two to give thanks. God and others. Always two. You never do it on your own. You might think you do, but no, you don't. Always turn up and give God the glory and give him thanks. And then the people around you that help you accomplish your goals. Giving of thanks. Says this, Hebrews 13:50. He says, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks unto his name. It's called thanksgiving. Are you a thankful person? Have you taken time today to thank God for things? I've got a book on my shelf over here. It's called The Happiest People on Earth. Really, that's the name of the book. And about page 100, he tells who they are. They're people like you and me who have found our gifts, our talents, our sweet spot, and we're using them. That's it. I qualify. I'm not perfect. I wish I had other gifts, but I don't. So I want to be the best Bob I can be. So I ask God every day to help me be one of those happy people to accomplish what I can do and be the happiest people on earth. Now, a couple things too in closing here. My whole life is a story of I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. But God. My whole life. My accident, of course I didn't see that coming. A divorce, I didn't see that coming. Having triplets born, I didn't see that coming. Building the Ironwood Springs Christian Ranch and the Miracle Lodge, hosting military families disabled from around the whole planet, I didn't see that coming. It's all part of thanksgiving and gratitude. I didn't see it coming, but God. There's a proverb, one of my favorite proverbs. It's several times in the Proverbs, and you can look it up for yourself. And it's not a mistake. It's repeated 3-4 times. It says this, a happy heart, a grateful heart is a good medicine. That's what it says. Are you smiling today? Do you have a happy heart? Did you take your medicine yet? If you haven't, stop right now and take your medicine. Turn your attitude around. Ask God to help you be grateful. Look at the good side. One of my things that I try to focus on now in my life as the years roll along, it's called, I try to follow ABC. It's pretty simple, ABC. We all know what ABC is. A stands for attitude. Attitude kind of trumps everything. Good attitude, bad attitude. The list goes on in attitudes. And I ask God every morning when I get up to help me have a good spirit and a positive attitude. That's A. Got A down, attitude. B is bark less and wag more. Do you hear that one? Bark less and wag more. I'm still barking a lot. I know, it's what it is. But I'm working on it, just like you should too. That has to do with our conversation. That my words should be, every day my words should be true. They should be kind. They should be nice. Every day of my life is the words that I speak. And C, ABC. C, it's called Count Your Blessings. Count your many blessings. There's a song out there called Count Your Blessings. Have you counted your blessings today? Well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Well, let's see. You saw my book, The Marathons of Life. I just recently published a book here called 15,565 Extra Days and Counting. That's the number of days from my accident till the book went to the publisher. So I got that out there. That's what that is. If you want one of those, you can check it out or check my website out. And then I got a little thing here about speaking that I do. Right here, it's called Top of the World. I'm up on top of the Grand Canyon. And then if you'd like one of these, I can send you one of these. It's my little story in a little pocket-sized pamphlet. It's called For When I Am Weak, Then Am I Strong. I'm going to try to back up here a little bit and show you my chair here, if you can see it, on each side of our wheelchair. This side right here, it says what? It says, don't quit and finish strong. Did you get that one? Don't quit and finish strong. That's for you, right today, not to quit, to finish strong. God will get you. The other side says this. If you can read that, right there. One nation under God. One nation under God. As we see our nation being divided today in so many ways, it's so painful for me to see that. The best thing I can do every day is to pray, do my part, and ask God to heal our land if that's His will, and leave everything in His hand, because it's uncertain times in which we live. Well, that's my little sharing time. I look forward to joining some more of you before long. And the marathons of life. Bloom where you're planted. Be an encourager. Stick to it. And give thanks. God bless you. Take care. We'll catch you later.